counted how many times I performed. Do you know, Ron? I performed maybe 6 times with the choir on all kinds of different occasions. The first time was a Tanner Gift of Music, it's called. I think it was the very first time. That was a 2008 performance, and I think it was maybe a couple of years after that was my performance with the choir for the Christmas show as well. Oh man, I have so many. I think actually one of my favorite ones was around Veterans Day, and my dad, I don't know, some of you may know this, my father, who has since passed away a few years back, he was a Tuskegee Airman. And they were doing this wonderful celebration, and Ron called me up. He said, "Would your dad come up and be part of this celebration?" And I said, "I don't know. He's pretty old now, and he's not really getting on planes anymore." And they said, "We'll take care of it." They arranged for him to be able to come up, and they came down first. He was living in San Diego at the time, and interviewed him and talked to him about his life, and then put together the most incredible segment about his life and being a Tuskegee Airman. He taught radio code and blinker code at Moton Field in Alabama, and it was scored. It was just gorgeous. And then I came up on the stage and I sang "What a Wonderful World," which is one of his very favorite songs. And to do that with the choir and the orchestra, and just to do that with my dad and in his honor, and there were a number of other servicemen that were being honored that same night. It was really a magical
It sounds so
occasion.
special.
Yeah, it really was great.
And it's funny you bring up "What a Wonderful World" because that the video clip we saw was really exemplary of the Christmas music and the classical music, but we hear all sorts of sounds throughout this concert. Especially when you're there, we get a lot of jazz arrangements.
And animal noises.
Yes, and animal noises and stuff. No one tells a story like this man, okay? He brought up the babysitting. It was my joy to watch him read stories to his son, because you haven't been read a story until you've been read a story by Brian Stokes Mitchell. So just know that. Put it on your bucket list. But no, I mean, you get a gorgeous, jazzy rendition of the Christmas song. I love that we get "Through Heaven's Eyes" from, I'm Jewish, and so I personally love that, but because that song isn't about being Jewish, it's not being about through one belief system, and it's just the spirituality that you bring into the space. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that, when they have the Broadway talent, they're capitalizing on, like I said, all of those skills.
Yeah, you have Natalie Cole and Gladys Knight,
Mm-hmm.
and David Archuleta, a pop singer, and people from opera, people from the theater, and the choir is able to make this beautiful warm blanket around whoever is performing with them, and the orchestra and Mac and his brilliance as well.
Yeah, there are 2 moments in this special where I feel like your emotion is so raw that it almost feels like the screen disappears. I felt like I was in the room with you. And the first moment is when you talk about the farewell hymn that the choir sings to you. Can you tell us more about what that is?
Yeah, and one of the things that's most special about this hymn is it's not something that's televised. It's not something that people see. After you do the concert with the choir, they bring you up on the stage. Ron, I can go up with Ron and all the members of the staff and all the people that help make the choir happen, and they say a thank you, and it's just a really wonderful moment. It's a moment where I get to say thank you, and all the artists get to say their thank you to the choir and the orchestra and all the people there as well. And then they just have you face the choir and they sing a song straight to the choir, just for you. Everybody is focused right on you, and this most incredible music comes out of them, and to have all of those beautiful people with all of those beautiful voices singing right into your heart is just an overwhelming feeling. And it's the same feeling that you get watching the concert on steroids is what it's like, I mean, it's just because it's just coming into one person. Every single person is focused on that. It really is incredible. I wish you all
I mean,
could feel that.
I
as
had
well.
chills listening to you talk about it just now. The other moment that I love is when you step on that stage again for the first time and you look into that space and you look into that room. And now having been there, 21,000 people. It's a lot of people. I've been in, national touring houses and whatnot that are 2,100 people, and they feel cavernous. And yet the conference center fits 21,000 people and feels, like I said, you have that grandeur, but it feels intimate. What do you think contributes to that intimacy and the coziness of such a large space?
Just brilliant architects. I mean, if you're just talking about the physical space, if I
Yeah.
remember right, there are no columns in that space, right? Isn't it the largest auditorium, or one of the largest auditoriums? Pardon, what's that?
No, it's tight in the world.
Of its type. It is the largest auditorium of its type in the world, and I remember the first time I walked on that stage and looking into those 21,000 empty seats. It's just really incredible. But what really hit me was the fact that as large as it is, it feels very, very intimate as well.
Right.
Did you want to say something?
Now, when we were building that conference center,
I was just gonna say, when we were building that conference center, we took the First Presidency down to show them the venue. And we drove down this dirt ramp down into that conference center. And we said, you see that wall and this wall and that wall and that wall, you can park a 747 jet in here and not touch the wing or the tail or the nose. That's how large that conference center is. And yet, to your point, Ruth, it's very intimate when you step onto that stage.
And it feels that way from the audience too, right? I mean, I had,
Thank you.
like I said, gold carpet, I had very excellent seats. But it's still, I watched some from the back to see, 15 cameras are used to record this. It's 60 crew members working sound, lights, the cameras, everything. It's a massive production, and even from the back, it doesn't feel like it's far away. It's a feat of magic you all have accomplished.
It is
for sure.
incredible, and it feels that way for me on the stage too. When I perform on a stage, I come to Feinstein's 54 Below. This is one of my favorite places in New York to perform, and I love it because it is so intimate, and it feels like my living room. It's one of the things that I usually say when I perform. I like to make it feel like, I'm doing a show in my living room. I gotta say, that 21,000 seat auditorium, it still felt like my living room. It does have this kind of intimacy about it that is just really, really unusual. But again, it's brilliant planning, it's brilliant architects, it's people with vision that, put this place together, and